what is the process? Like what happens, you know, maybe I have $100,000 in registered funds, maybe I have equity in my home. All that, you know, is irrelevant at this very second because I want to know what's the process. So do I give you a call? Am I walking into the office? What happens if somebody's living in BC, if somebody's living in the States?
Yeah, we can service you anywhere in the world.
Okay, so tell me the process.
So
how does it work?
Yeah, so we do deal with you know, investors that live locally as well as all throughout. Essentially what would happen first is we'd send you some introductory paperwork on how to get started. There is a Know Your Client form that we have. So we will request you to complete that Know Your Client form prior to getting started with investing.
Okay.
It will just have some questions related to your preferences, what kind of, risk tolerance, the type of term you're looking for, how much you have to invest at this time, and exactly as you mentioned, whether that's cash or RSP. So that will just allow us to have a little bit of a better idea of what you're looking to do, and we can kind of send some opportunities your way that kind of suit those preferences.
Okay, so there's a Know Your Client form that you send me, or is embedded right in here?
We actually have a package that we'll send out to you.
Okay.
We can do a conference call with you. We can meet in the office. It depends whatever you prefer.
Okay.
And then once we have that meeting with you, we'll discuss what you're looking to do. Like, what's your objective?
Yeah.
Do you want cash flow?
Yeah.
Do you not want cash flow? You just want to be able to
aggressively grow your
portfolio. Or your RSPs, whatever it is.
Yeah, because people are, again, we all agree that money is not the most important thing. It's the why, you know, being able to spend time with family and friends. So you've got to know what my objectives are.
Absolutely.
So you can put me in the right mortgage vehicle.
That's right. So if you want, let's say, cash flow, then you know, maybe individual mortgages might be best suited for you.
Which have typically higher monthly cash flows because the way their returns are broken out is they're just a little bit higher on the interest side on a monthly cash flow perspective.
Yeah.
And we should explain what the individual mortgage is. So, you know, basically an individual mortgage, if you were looking to get into mortgage lending, individual mortgages are you lending to a client that comes to our company looking for a mortgage. And you might be able to even do an individual mortgage with a couple other people if the loan amount is higher.
Yeah.
So that's an individual mortgage.
And so how would I find out about that? So I'm filling out the Know Your Client form. I'm giving it back to you. You know then, therefore, what's going to be the best, you know, vehicle for
We'll have a call with you.
You have a call with me?
Yes.
And then
or a meeting.
I'm on now the preferred ProFunds, you know, investor list.
Well, that's
so that would be the next step. Once you fill that out, we will have you enter into our
network,
our private investor network.
Yep.
When you are opted into there, you will receive an email every single time we have a new mortgage available.
Nice.
That's usually between our mid-sized and our larger scale deals. If we know you're really suited to strictly individual mortgages, we can also send those to you on a one-on-one basis depending on what your criteria is.
Okay.
But I would say it's definitely important to get on that main investor list because 95% of the investment opportunities are going to come through there.
Okay, so now I see something. I like this investment that you've proposed to me, and I want to go forward.
so
Great.
Now it's really important to understand this. There's such a demand right now for the product that we're offering.
Yeah.
That
First come, first serve.
First come, first serve, and it goes really quickly. So we don't want our investors frustrated. So what we've created is a form, and it's on a reservation form. And Jordan, maybe you can get into that.
Yes, so essentially what will happen is if you see that email come through, you think it's something you're interested in, we would suggest just send us an email right away or as soon as you can, let us know you're interested. Don't wait on it a week or two later and then decide to email because chances are the mortgage will already be fully raised.
Okay.
When you do let us know you're interested, our team will go through on a first come, first serve basis, and what we will do is we will send you an email with all of the due diligence. So you'll have access to a link and it's going to show you all of the information pertaining to that deal specifically. So appraisals are going to be on there. You know, if it's an individual client, there might be net worth, credit bureau, income. If it's a project, it's going to be a a larger project report, which we call a MEO, which is a mortgage investment offering.
Yep.
So you're going to have access to all of that. You know, depending on the size and the scope of the deal, these mortgages get raised within a few hours to within a couple of days.
Hours.
To within a couple of days.
Wow.
Potentially a week.
Depends
It
on the
depends on the
size.
size. If it's a very small mortgage, it can go quick. If we're dealing with maybe a $12 million raise, you know, usually we've got a couple of days in there that you could take your time and go through. So once you've evaluated and said, okay, this one's not for me, I'll wait for the next. If it is something you want to go with, we will include a link to an online reservation form. So you'll have to go in there and you can enter all your particulars, the investment, the name that you want the investment registered under. So it could be a corporation, it could be you personally.
Could be your children.
Yep, so you'll have to include that, and then as well as how your investment is composed. So you can actually decide between most of our investments, you can combine 2 different accounts to fund one total investment.
Okay.
So if you're investing 100, you can just fill in the boxes. It will be with, you know, say 50.
$40,000 TFSA,
Exactly.
$60 RESPs.
Right.
60,000 cash.
60,000 rather.
So it could be
Yeah.
cash and registered funds. It can be a combination.
Okay.
So you'll
But
fill that
up
in.
to 2.
Up
yeah,
to 2, yeah.
Yeah.
So once you fill that out, it will actually auto-populate into our database. We will basically accumulate reservations until we've reached a capacity on that raise, because unfortunately our raises are very specific numbers given our loan to value thresholds. We can't extend anywhere beyond a certain dollar amount that we're raising. Once we've reached that point, any other investor will basically fall in a contingency list. And you know, it's very common. We do see it. You know, one person, they couldn't get their access to their funds in time, so we'll have an opening and we'll call upon that person in the contingency.
Okay. Well, it sounds like we've got all our ducks in a row. It seems like a very easy, clean process to be able to invest in,
Absolutely.
in
And
mortgages.
then once you've committed,
Yep.
then the next step is our team, once we've raised the entire loan amount, our team then gets all of the paperwork prepared. So there's about how many sets of documents?
Yeah,
7?
so there's about 5 documents that the investor will have to sign, as well as an automatic bank deposit form, so we can transfer your interest payments to you once the mortgage closes.
very important.
We will need
Yes,
ID.
that's the most important.
Yep. So there's a couple of sets of documents that have to be completed.
Yeah.
That has to be returned to ProFunds. Once those docs are returned to ProFunds, we then put the investors in contact with the lawyer who's going to be representing the investor or the group of investors in the
And
transaction.
we will need identification, so we'll need 2 pieces of ID.
Yep.
And then in the documents that you're
But
getting.
if I'm not in the country, how do we do that? I get a notary to sign something and scan
yes.
it in, or?
Yeah.
Exactly. So investors that live, you know, locally, or they have the ability to actually go in and meet with the lawyers that we work with on an individual basis.
Yeah.
If you are located, you know, in
close proximity.
Yeah, if you're in the, you know, other parts of the world or other parts of Canada, which we see very often, you're able to go to you know, a notary and have someone attest your ID. You can do everything electronically, signing paperwork.
I like
you can
that.
scan it, return it, so you can
Good.
do everything virtually.
Great.
So once your paperwork is received, then the whole package goes to the law firm that's representing the group of investors.
Yeah.
And if it's an individual mortgage, it would go to your lawyer of your choice if you wish, or you could choose a lawyer that we work with that's very knowledgeable in private lending and knows the process quite well.
Beautiful.
And then once he gets it, then
That lawyer is going to do some searches. They're going to be looking out for your best interest, screening the deal. They also handle the closing. So
they
all
are
of-
representing you, the lender.
Yeah. All of your funds would actually be sent to that lawyer. You can either do a wire transfer
Yep.
to that law firm. So if you're located from somewhere afar, you can easily do a wire transfer to that lawyer's trust account, or you can also prepare a bank draft. Once all the lawyer has those funds available, and we have usually a set targeted closing date, on that date, all the funds will close, and that will mark the start of the mortgage term.
Well, listen, if I'm making, you know, whatever, 12, 13, 14%, it's okay to do a few minutes of work on my end.
Yes.
You know? So-
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then from then on in, you either can receive your payments monthly,
Yep.
and you'll see the
Which-
deposits go directly into your bank account of your choice.
Yep.
Yep, and that will happen 30 days after the closing date.
Yep.
And then if the monthly or if the prepaid lump sum option's available, that
Which
will
means
usually happen.
You can take all your interest up front.
Up front, yep.
Yep. Just wanted to make sure that that was clear.
Then that would usually happen within a few business days after closing.
Okay, great.
So the lawyer then is responsible, or it would come to the Valor Mortgage Services Trust account, and the funds would come to you that way. So it would come from either the lawyer or Valor Mortgage Services, the mortgage administrator.
Well, I have a favor to ask. Info@ravtour.com. Can you send me the Know Your Client form?
Absolutely.
And Bob's your uncle.
And if you are interested in getting started, you can email invest@profunds.ca, and we can get you started with that whole process.
So it's
Invest@profunds.ca.
That's
yes.
correct.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's as easy as that. And then away you go.
There we go.